This is aParently, a conversation between parents. And I am your coach, Sean Hopkins. This podcast was made for moms and dads and grandmothers and grandfathers, aunts and uncles, kinship, caregivers, foster parents, and all people raising people. Welcome to aParently. I'm a single foster and adoptive parent of two amazing boys, Juan, who's 11, and his brother Miguel, who's 19 years old. I'm also a certified coach working with parents, providing support and tools and coaching for people who are doing, honestly, one of the hardest but most rewarding jobs in the world, raising kind and confident kids. This podcast is not a showcase of my coaching. This is just a conversation between parents. Two parents opening up and sharing their challenges and celebrating their wins, supporting one another, providing true community to one another. Now, why I offer this to you is by listening to it, I truly believe that you will feel less alone, because what you fear, your doubts, your challenges are the same as so many people. We just need to talk to more people. So that's what this podcast is. It's apparently a conversation between parents. Today I'm talking to my friend Alex Reynolds. He has been a member of my dad's group for a little over a year now, and he's helped me out in a ton of ways. We talk about not being a super dad, talk about cleaning up messes with our kids, the messes that we make. We talk about the emotions in our young 11-year-old boys that are suddenly explosive and things just aren't that easy anymore. Anyway, this is an opportunity for all of us to feel a lot more connected. So let's get started. Thanks for being here. Alex Reynolds, really good to see you.
Good to see you, Sean.
So much. I'm so glad that you are the first person to partake in this new experiment. Apparently,
I'm excited.
A conversation between parents. Yeah, man. This comes from our dad's group. The ideas of sharing wins and challenges. And man, I've gotten so much from you, and it has benefited me as a parent. It has benefited my boys as people who have to put up with me every single day. So no better person to launch this effort with than you. Thank you a million times, not just for being here, but also for being my friend. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited. This is my first podcast debut. I've never been on a podcast before, and I'm excited to be here and try this out. And I've enjoyed being a part of the dad's group, and I got to get back in the swing of it. Life kind of hit me with a big sledgehammer, and I got to get back into some old routines and stuff. But I've been enjoying your podcasts, even when I can't make it out to the dad's group. But the podcast has been awesome. And look at me, here I am. I'm on the podcast.
Here you are. Here you are. So glad you're here.
Yeah.
Alex, just to introduce yourself, if you will.
Yeah.
Basic stuff. Let us know who you are.
Yeah. So I am a dad of two boys. They're 8 and 10 years old. I'm married. My wife, it's all family effort, right? Trying to raise these boys and keep the house running and all those things. I'm also founder and designer of Charming Quail Design, where I make all kinds of cool stuff, helping people to revel in whatever they nerd out about, but with an elegance that makes everybody else jealous. And man, just running like crazy all the time, doing the dad thing, trying to keep up with work and the kids and the house and all the stuff.
When you say, and I love the fact that nerding out is kind of a big piece of your business and how to explain it. So can you give me an example of some of the designs you've made that you would call really nerdy?
Yeah. So So my background before I started this business, I worked at a design studio, a jewelry design studio downtown in Fort Collins here, and mostly was doing custom wedding sets. But as part of doing custom wedding sets, I'd get people that would come in and be like, "Hey, man, we need a wedding set, but we're really into the Legend of Zelda, and but we also can't wear like weird nerdy jewelry to work in our wedding set. Like we got to wear it every day, you know?" And that was the thing that I really enjoyed about that. I mean, there were a lot of things I enjoyed about the job, but my favorite jobs tended to be that challenge of like, okay, how do I take something that's really nerdy that just really gets these people excited, but turn it into something so elegant that they could wear it to work, they could wear it to church or synagogue, or they could wear it out with the to the in-laws and whatever else, not know that everybody's just gonna be like, wow, that's such a beautiful piece, and it was kind of funny. Somebody, as I was explaining it to somebody at one of these art things I go to, they're like, "Oh, so you do like it's sort of this like, if you know jewelry." Like, oh yeah, that's kind of a way to put it, because it's so elegant and sort of I do it in a way that it doesn't hit in the face. So if you don't know what it is, you don't know. But then when you do, it's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking, is that you look at the designs online, you're like, oh, that's really beautiful. Oh, wait a second. Is that a,
yeah, right.
That's so,
I've been doing the Corgi collection lately. And it's one of those, a lot of people are like, is that the apple? I'm like, no, it's a Corgi butt. And they're like, oh, that's awesome. That is a Corgi.
What's your parenting win this week?
Man, I feel like my win was kind of cleaning up my own mess, maybe. This weekend, I must have been in a grumpy mood or something. I was kind of tired, but it was one of those days where like I wasn't grumpy enough to realize I was grumpy. You know those days where like you keep kind of nipping at people, but you don't realize you're doing it, Yeah. And I don't know, like mom kept working with our oldest, different things, whether it's trying to get them to do homework or, whatever it is. And for whatever reason, I just kept feeling the need to interject from the other room. Like I'm not in this conversation, and it's, it's stuff like he's complaining about, well, brother did this and I'm mad about this because of brother, and mom's handling it just fine. And they're walking off into his room. And I felt the need to yell something like, well, maybe you shouldn't be thinking so much about what your brother did, but about what you did, trying to get this whole like take responsibility for your own action kind of thing. But like, mom had it handled, man. Why am I yelling stuff in the other room? And, I could see throughout the day, like he'd start giving me that eye when he walks by, like, oh, Dad, leave me alone. Like you could tell like it was wearing on him, and it finally kind of clicked with me. I'm like, geez, what am I doing? Like this is not my conversation. It's being handled. Why am I yelling this stuff from the other room? Like it's bugging him, and it should be. Like this is not how I should be handling this. And so towards the end of the day, I was like, hey man, can you come into the office real quick? He's like, oh God, you could hear it in his voice, like, okay, Dad. But he's like in his head, he's like, God, what now? Like, finally, And so I get him into the office. I'm like, hey man, you and mom been talking a lot today, and mom's got stuff handled, and I keep yelling stuff in the other room, and it's really unnecessary. And I'm sorry. That was my bad, man. I'm so sorry. And you could see just like, I don't know, like he's too cool to like allow much emotion out, but you could see like a subtle, like his face kind of lit up with this like, oh, thank goodness, and we hugged it out. And so that was sort of my win, was just sort of recognizing that I was being a jerk. And not just recognizing, but taking that moment to be like, okay, 1, stop being a jerk. 2, apologize. And, try to make it better. And it worked out, and everything was a lot smoother. He stopped giving me the eye, and
Tell me about the eye.
Stuff.
So Juan has a way of doing the eye.
Yeah.
And his eye is like really, like his whole face loses all emotion, but his eyes go like this small. And it almost feels like it's the type of look that you get before somebody jumps you. You know, like I almost feel threatened by it.
Man.
What's his eye? Is it more of a side eye?
I feel like he's got the one you were talking about, but that wasn't the one this weekend. Because I feel like he gets that one when he's kind of off in his own head, and like he's got something that's kind of selfish going on. Well, we all do that, right? Like sometimes we get these things stuck in our head, and we're like, "Oh my God, all these people! I can't believe it." When it's really like it's not them. It's me.
Yeah,
you know.
It's us.
And I feel like that's when he ggets that eye. But his eye this time was definitely, it was a little bit different because it was like, because it was, because it was like he knew what was going on. Like he's grown up enough. He's mature enough. Like he knows what's going on, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna put up with this. Okay,
That's totally the look you expect from a parent, but instead,
no, I was getting that from him, and that look, it spoke to me. I was like, oh God, he's so right. I'm screwing this up. I need to apologize and pull my act back together. This is not right. So
that's good.
Yeah,
and it also shows them how to do that on their own, and they probably, at least in my house, they probably won't do it too often with their sibling, but there will be moments when they get older when they realize there's a move to make here that's not defense, and it's instead admitting that I'm wrong and cleaning it up. So good for you, man. That's a great example to set. But a win I have is related to Halloween. My son Juan wanted to be Green Bean from Grow a Garden, which is not something that most adults are familiar with. So apparently it's a game like Minecraft or Roblox. Yeah.
I think my kid's been playing that on Roblox. It's the strangest sounding thing. I haven't seen him play it, but I think I have heard of it.
So he wanted to be Green Bean. Okay. So I'm looking online, and most of the pictures are pixelated. So just trying to figure out how to do it. So he wanted to do most of it himself, right?
Cool.
So he does put together most of it over the course of a month. And then we get up real early the next morning to finalize it. And we just had to like glue or fabric tape a yellow stripe on the hood. Okay. So we did that, and he went and looked in the mirror, and I got in the car so I could drive him to his bus stop because it was really cold that day. And it took him a while to come out. So I just hollered, "Hey man, I'm going to be in the car." And he came down to the garage, hopped in the car, and he just looked pissed, like really pissed. And I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I don't like this." And I was like, oh, the worst, right? We're on our way to school. Like we're leaving the station. What he's got on is what he has to go with. And he feels miserable. So I'm sitting in the car and I'm thinking, what would Alan Thicke do? He'd probably come up with some amazing idea, and it would be worthy of a story or another podcast episode or something like that where I'm SuperDad. So I'm running through all these ideas. I'm like, can you wear a mask? Because that's an easy fix, right? Like, you wear a mask. Like, no, we're not allowed to wear masks. Okay. Do you want to just go back and wear something normal? He's like, no, everybody's wearing costumes. I'm like, God, okay. So I'm sitting there in the car and I'm like, God, I really wished I could be SuperDad. I really wished I could figure this out. And I just wound up looking at him and saying, man, this sucks. I totally understand that this feels awful. I wished I could do something. I wished I came up with something to fix this right now. I'm so sorry I don't, buddy. And then I drove him to this bus stop. going to his bus stop, not one kid wore a costume. So now I'm just, he's really quiet. And I'm thinking, are you sure you don't want to, like talking to him about possible other ideas? No. And I said, okay. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I could bring him to school late. We could run to the store, get him a costume, all that stuff. And then I thought, you know what? This is life. These things are going to happen, and it's tough. But let's just hope that the day goes well. So instead of fixing it, I just said, I hope that he makes it through the day and it's not so bad. Whole day I'm miserable. Whole day I'm nervous as heck. I'm sitting by the door when he walks in the door, and as soon as he walks in the door, the hood is up. So he has taken he's wearing the hood, he walks in the door, and he starts talking like nothing ever happened. And I grab him and I'm like, dude, hey, well, what happened with the costume? He's like, nothing. It was cool. And I said, so you're cool with it? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. What's the problem? And I'm like,
trying to do like the morning never.
You're miserable. I was like, I was scared to death. This was going to go terrible for you. So it went really good. He's like, yeah, did you get green hair dye? I need green hair dye. And I was like, I'll get it. I was just so excited. So my win, in my opinion, was not trying to be super dad, not trying to fix it, and letting him, tackle the day with an unfortunate situation, and maybe the best will come of it. And it won't be about me. It'll be about him overcoming that awkwardness and that feeling of, whatever feelings you get whenever a costume isn't the hit that you wanted it to be, which frankly, how often does that happen? A lot, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll happen again. So that's
hard to do. That's very hard to do, trying to just
hard.
Let them kind of suffer through it and figure it out. When we just want to fix everything so they're always happy. That's hard.
Yeah, it was hard. It was a tough day. And also I feel extra added pressure being single dad, like in that moment, like you have to work double time to make sure that, like, if there was a mom in the picture or a partner in the picture, that they, that tag out, you're just like, I'm here, tag out, you take it from here, and you've got fresh eyes, you've got, new initiative, because you didn't have to do the stuff that I had to do. You don't have that. So at sometimes you kind of have to give up in order for the kid to, recognize that a single parent can't be two parents. A single parent is sometimes not going to be a superhero. What are you working through?
What am I working through? I feel like the challenge that I'm working through is, my oldest, he's 10 years old. I feel like this is all too early. I don't know, but like, just his emotions are changing, right? Like, he's becoming a more emotionally complex person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not used to parenting that. I'm used to parenting the more simple kid,
Mm-hmm.
And this is becoming an interesting challenge to figure out how to parent through this, where, like, I'm like, hey man, how's homework going? Boom, nuclear explosion. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what just happened? I don't understand.
Yeah.
What? Hold on. I'm like, I just mentioned homework, like, I know it wasn't like an exciting subject, but like, where did this just, I don't understand. And I'm just like, sitting there lost and confused. And it's like, it's stuff like that I feel like, happens a lot, where I'm just like, oh, okay, this just went nuclear. I'm not sure what's going on. Where do I go from here? And it's, of course, he's gone nuclear. It's hard to talk to him. Like, so, okay, now what do I do? Like, and so that's been kind of the challenge, is like, okay, he is not a teenager yet. I thought I had a few more years to I hit this, but he's moving to those teenage years, and he's definitely acting more like a teenager with the more complex emotions and stuff. And so I have to be more thoughtful and careful about how I'm managing stuff. And so, yeah, that's kind of my big challenge right now, is trying to figure out how to navigate that with a little bit more complexity.
Yeah.
That's my challenge.
Is he open to talking about it? Like, does he recognize that he's more emotional at times, or is he real defensive whenever you bring it up?
I feel that kind of falls into the same category of like, it depends, right? Like if I'm able to figure out like, okay, when's the right time to talk about it and how's the right way to talk about it, sometimes I can get through to him. But if I'm not careful, then, the nuclear button gets hit and there's no conversation at that point. Like, it's all just like, he's just blowing at me, and I try to talk to him, but he can't hear through all the noise,
right.
that's going on in his own head once that happens. So it's yes and no. And I've had some good conversations with him where, like, I managed to slip just the right thing in at just the right time that suddenly just kind of like dawned on him, like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm trying to remember what that was. I remember there was one thing I said to him, like, at the breakfast table at one point, and when he had just been fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, and I said this one thing, and it was subtle. I wasn't trying to be aggressive or anything. And there was something about that moment, like, he didn't fight. He didn't say anything. It was just silence. But because he wasn't fighting, like, I think that landed. I think something struck a chord there,
Yeah.
And something made sense to him. I think it was one of those days where he'd gotten into a bad place, he'd gotten into a grumpy place, and he just was fighting for the sake of fighting at that point. And I managed to say something that was like, hey man, you need to sit back and like reflect on this thing that's driving all of this, and something about that like clicked with him, you know?
I tell you what, let me encourage you in a big way on this, because, that's not something that I was aware of until I was older. It was more of like, if I blew up and had big emotions, it was more of stop doing that, right? Like,
okay, right,
you're too dramatic, you're being too emotional, being too sensitive, something like that. But what I learned at a later age is exactly what you just talked about, was tracking where that stemmed from. What led you to this blow up? So one of the things I'm doing with Juan, so Juan's really good at pointing out my bad emotions, or my grumpiness, and he'll ask me straight out, like, why are you grumpy? And instead of getting annoyed with it, I've started to sit down and figure out where that came from.
Because he's trying to be constructive. He's not trying to be mean.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
He said something funny about a month or so ago. I was in a really horrible mood, and he goes, why are you in such a bad mood? Your parents aren't going to be here for another 2 months. And he just knows I get stressed out before parents come, because it's a joyous occasion. If mom and dad are listening, I love when you're here, but but I also get nervous, as people do. So he knows that there's a path that leads to this behavior. And you having that conversation with your son about whenever you messed up and why, adding that why is huge. And it allows them to do the same thing, is ask, why am I here? Why is this, this was just giving me the smaller fork out of the fork drawer. Why did my brother give me the smaller fork? Why am I getting the smaller fork? Why do I get treated like that? And you back it up, and it comes from somewhere else. Something else caused that. It's like, why are we even more angry about politics today? Well, because we watched something on social media first thing in the morning about politics, and it lit us up right away. And it just kind of lasted up until noon when, something else happened and I was really mad at that guy in the red hat. So,
Yeah.
So I think that that's the ideal part of it is modeling it for yourself and then giving them that opportunity to map it out in their own brain so that they, not only know how to do that, but then recognize what are the things that I'm doing that are causing these explosions. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I shouldn't be so irritated about, a fork. Why maybe I shouldn't let that get to me, something like that. But yeah, Juan's 11. We had the puberty talk about a year ago, and we talked about the fact that the muscles, the hair and all that stuff aren't going to happen right away, but the emotions are. So that's what our boys are dealing with is the hormones are already starting to change, and it does turn our kids into not the simple children we used to have, the very complex emotional monsters that they become in the days of puberty. So these are the early days.
Oh man, it's just starting up.
Yeah,
this is just starting up. Yeah,
so that's the beginning. Well, Alex, I really appreciate this. I've taken up a bunch of time, but man, you've helped me, man. And I appreciate it. Where can people find Charming Quail?
Oh yeah, charmingquail.com. And whatever your favorite social media site is, try @CharmingQuail. There's a good chance I have some sort of presence there. So, but charmingquail.com is a great place to start.
Great. Excellent. Well, Alex, thanks again. I hope to see you at the next Dad's group, and I hope to see your boys especially. And once again, buddy, thank you so much. I love you a lot.
Absolutely. Love you too, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you so much for joining me today on aParently, a conversation between parents. If this conversation made you think, if it was helpful, if it made you feel a little more normal, I hope that you will like it, review it, subscribe, all those things that you're supposed to do, because all of those things will help another parent find it. And that's my goal, just to make a whole lot of parents understand the value of community and to feel normal. Parenting is big work. It's brave work. And you don't have to do it alone. You are doing better than you think you are. And when in doubt, let me remind you. I offer free coaching for parents and their kids. So if you ever need fresh eyes or a steady voice or just a safe place to talk things through, head on over to SeanHop.com and schedule your free coaching session today. I'm Sean Hopkins. Take good care.